But he's out there saying clearly, this is Donald Trump's own vice president saying, I'm not going to support him. I feel this time around, I can't support Donald Trump. His agenda has completely derailed. It's not the Republican agenda anymore. And you can say Mike Pence, no, he's a rhino, like a Republican in name only. He's a traitor. You can say all of these things. But you have to look at the facts, guys. Donald Trump lost every single lawsuit that was filed across the nation when it came to fraud, to election fraud. Not a single case went his way. Even cases presented before Republican judges that were Trump-appointed judges, and they still didn't even see sufficient evidence to go to trial. Not a single case among the 64 cases they filed nationwide went to trial. There was not even enough evidence to go to trial, guys. That number one. Number two, where do you see Donald Trump's lawyers today? You have Mike Pence claiming from within your own party that things are not looking good, that Trump has derailed, that he's pushing a different agenda that is not the Republican agenda anymore. But now you have Rudy Giuliani, who was pretty much disbarred in New York. He can't practice law. He admitted to defaming two election workers that suffer a lot. And that tells you a lot. Rudy Giuliani is a lawyer admitting to defaming, pretty much pleading guilty to defaming these election workers. And then you have Jenna Ellis pleading guilty. Kenneth Chesbro pleading guilty. Sidney Powell pleading guilty. All in Georgia. They pleaded guilty to being part of this conspiracy, the RICO case that they're processing now in Fulton County, Georgia. How are you going to have lawyers pleading guilty, guys? Just think of that for a second. If you saw Joe Biden's lawyers pleading guilty, wouldn't that be like a major red flag to you? Even if Biden was saying, no, I'm innocent, they're framing me, but you would see their lawyers, his lawyers, pleading guilty all around the nation. Now these same lawyers have been charged, some of them in different states, like Arizona or Michigan, and they may be charged in some other trials because they follow the same scheme in different states. I just want you to see that there's enough evidence to go to trial. These charges were brought because a grand jury or a jury saw the evidence and they said, yes, go forward, move forward with the charges, indict him. So this is not CNN, this is not MSNBC, this is not some left-wing, outlet pushing out some, narrative like we see when it comes to Biden. They've been pushing this narrative about Burisma and China and millions of dollars, Biden enriching, his own family. But when it comes to finally presenting some facts to a jury so that we can get a vote on indicting Biden, nothing happens. Why? Because there's no proof. Because the only witness they had, what happened? It was found to be lying, and the DOJ arrested him and charged him with lying to the FBI and falsifying all the information he was given to authorities when it came to Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and the supposed Burisma scandal and corruption and Biden selling, like influence or benefiting his own family. Nothing has, progressed. It's going nowhere fast. They've been at it 15 months or so, and still they won't even say what are the exact charges, what is the exact crime. Well, there's something, you'll see. That's exactly what Rudy Giuliani would say on TV. Mike Lindell, oh, you'll see, we have the proof. It's coming out, you're gonna see it. And what we see is that they finally pleaded guilty. Rudy Giuliani is filing for bankruptcy. Alex Jones' life was completely destroyed with all the lies, on InfoWars. He had to eventually, the court ordered him to literally to liquidate his assets so that he can start paying the Sandy Hook victims, the parents of all these, victims that were killed. And you see the same with Fox News. They lost a massive $787 million lawsuit against Dominion Voting Systems. And now they're facing another lawsuit, which is like $2 billion or more with Smartmatic, which was another company related to the same voting process, and was also defamed, and like they face damages and losses, major losses because of all the defamation that went on Fox News. So you can't tell me that you gonna think that this whole thing is a coincidence. Then you have Peter Navarro, and then you have Steve Bannon. All these people refusing to collaborate, refusing to testify, refusing to provide information to the January 6th committee. All these things are falling apart. The 64 cases they lost in court, they didn't even go to trial, I should say. They lost every initiative, every lawsuit, because they got nowhere. And then the recounts, the Republican-led recounts, all of them failed. Biden actually was found to have, won by more votes than originally counted. And then you have all his lawyers pleading guilty, losing their licenses. Jenna Ellis, who also pleaded guilty, his lawyer, Jenna Ellis, young lawyer, she told the judge, Your Honor, if I had known what I know now about Donald Trump, I wouldn't have represented him. I wouldn't have worked for him. I am so sorry. And I want to apologize to the courts and, to the bar and to the people of Georgia. She was apologizing. This Trump lawyer, she is literally saying, if I had known back then what I know now, I wouldn't have worked for him. Are you going to tell me you think all of that's a coincidence? And then you have his own vice president and more than 40 people from his own cabinet. Trump's own people, his agency directors, staff, all these people coming out and saying, please don't vote for him. He is literally crazy. He is mad. This guy's corrupt. He will definitely tear our Constitution apart. It's not Joe Biden, guys. It's not the Democrats. It's not me. It's his own people. Even generals, from the military. They're warning us and telling us what's going on. So anyway, let me play these clips coming from Mike Pence. Please pay attention. Listen. This is not a Democrat. Mike Pence is not all of a sudden a rhino, Republican in name only. In name only. What the hell does that mean anyway? Oh, Republican in name only. You think Mike Pence all of a sudden wants Joe Biden to win just, to score a political win against Donald Trump, just to hurt Donald Trump? I wouldn't blame him if that was the case, but at some point, in your life, you may come to this kind of situation in which you have to put the country first, ahead of your party. Your political party can't be over the country, over the Constitution. And we got to that boiling point where things are so out of hand and the risk is so high that you have career Republicans like Trump's own vice president saying, we shouldn't vote for this guy. And you have a bunch of other people that have said the same thing, have warned us about what's going on. I think my dog is even saying you shouldn't vote for Donald Trump. So if you can hear him, that's what he's saying right now. But anyway, guys, let's play the videos of Mike Pence's 3 clips. Let me know in the comments if you think he's being honest, if you think this is really something you should pay attention to, and I'll be right back.
Truth is, there's almost no idea more un-American than the notion that any one person could choose the American president. The presidency belongs to the American people and the American people alone. And I will always be proud that we did our part on that tragic day to reconvene the Congress and fulfilled our duty under the Constitution and the laws of the United States. Now, I understand the disappointment many feel about the last election. I can relate. I was on the ballot. But there's more at stake than our party and our political fortunes in this moment. If we lose faith in the Constitution, we won't just lose elections. We'll lose our country. The President specifically asked me, and his gaggle of crackpot lawyers asked me to literally reject votes, which would have resulted in the issue being turned over to the House of Representatives, and literally chaos would have ensued. I want the American people to know that I had no right to overturn the election. And that on that day, President Trump asked me to put him over the Constitution. But I chose the Constitution, and I always will. I really do believe that anyone who puts themselves over the Constitution should never be President of the United States. And anyone who asks someone else to put themselves over the Constitution should never be President of the United States again. It should come as no surprise that I will not be endorsing Donald Trump this year. Look, I'm incredibly proud of the record of our administration. It was a conservative record that made America more prosperous, more secure. But that being said, during my presidential campaign, I made it clear that there were profound differences between me and President Trump on a range of issues. And not just our difference on my constitutional duties that I exercised on January the 6th. Donald Trump is pursuing and articulating an agenda that is at odds with the conservative agenda that we governed on during our 4 years. And that's why I cannot, in good conscience, endorse Donald Trump.
Well, guys, there you have it. I'm going to wrap it up here. That's just Mike Pence, a career Republican, a Christian, a decent American who's never been accused of a crime, unlike the other guy, telling you that you shouldn't vote for the other guy who has actually been convicted of criminal charges. Right now, he's a convicted felon based on 34 counts. He's also lost, sexual abuse cases, fraud cases, tax fraud cases, campaign finance laws violations and cases. The crime when it comes to Donald Trump, guys, it's like left and right. It's all over the place. He's too deep into this corruption scheme, and he's just too toxic, too dangerous, too risky for the country. And that's why people like Mike Pence are telling you, your own Republican Party leaders and career Republicans are saying you shouldn't vote for him. So I'm going to wrap it up. This is Daniel Arancemendi. This is the Arancemendi podcast. Stay tuned. Please subscribe, like, share, comment, because we're going to continue coming up with more content every single day until, the elections. We have to raise our voices. We can't lower our guard. There's a lot at stake, and we need to make sure that Donald Trump never sets a foot again in the Oval Office, not even to visit.